I think everyone pretty much knows the fate of this truck. For those that you don't know, this is the Brocks and Macks channel. Like and subscribe if you feel to. If you don't, and all you're going to do is watch my channel, that's okay too. YouTube is still going to remind you whether you subscribe or not. So you might as well subscribe and get that over with. But anyway, enough about that. This is I want to say a 70, 71, 72 R model. Not sure which, not that it matters. You're probably wondering, what's wrong with it? Just put a rear end in it. Well, I could do that too. But I feel maybe this one's just too far gone. And maybe somebody can shed some light. It's got a nice Lund visor for R model, DM, Superliner, whatever, they all fit. Brockway even. But you didn't hear that from me. But this cab is not much to be desired. The whole drip rail above the window is gone. We have a lot going on at the bottom here. I'm not even sure what this even is. Oh, it's Bondo. Oh, it's you. Anybody hear any steel? That's steel. That's not steel. That's, I think, gallons. You can even say gallons of Bondo in this. So the deciding factor as to why this is going to be a parts truck, one, this isn't the only Mack that's ever been parted out on Earth. I'm sure somebody's going to need the hood, an early 70s hood. There is some trinkets inside the cab because it's a steel dash. Let's check what's inside. Not bad. Somebody obviously liked white. Oh, okay. We even have rust on the dash. Not rust, rot. And then we have... What is this? Did somebody really try to fix this with Bondo? Yep, they did. I'm not sure what they thought was going to happen. I'm at a loss. Give me a minute. Let me put the camera down. Anybody see that? I can't even believe that the door shuts. I don't want to say shuts perfect, but I can't believe it just shuts. There's nothing left on this cab. This is probably the worst Mack cab I've ever come across, and I've seen some pretty crappy ones. Above the windshield, they normally rot. They were the real bad ones. But this thing, oh yeah. Oh yeah, check this out. And check that out. That's a replaceable panel. That's no big deal. But then somebody wanted to go with some more Bondo here in the floor. What's under here? What do we got? Why did we do that? There really wasn't... I mean, sure, it's rusty there. I don't get it. Why did somebody do all this? We have blocks holding the seat up because the whole back, this whole back is fiberglass. This is ridiculous. And again, that door shuts kind of nice. Obviously it was a single axle. This is the way that I got it. The guy said he last had it running, he had to pull start it. I'm not quite sure how to pull start it without the rear axle, but that's another story. Let's open the hood. What's going on under the hood? Okay. Maybe there's something promising in here. Tip turbine spins, that's always a good sign. Turbo spins and the turbo's tight. How are we doing for oil? Oh yeah, that's making oil. Not quite sure what that means. That's making oil. If you're making oil, you're in the wrong business, or you have a problem with your engine. One of the two. I would look into that. We have this custom filler cap right here. Yep. Put the oil right there. We have a custom. We have a custom. What's this for? Oh, I better not disturb that. That must be. Oh, it's for the spring return for shutting the engine off inside the cab. That's nice. What the f is this? It's pretty trick. It's a blow-by tube. Never seen it quite like that before. Then we have a oil bath air cleaner. Obviously nobody home in that one. And once upon a time I had air conditioning. I see the air conditioner inside the cab. There's the bracket. But obviously no compressor. That's missing. Ooh. Well, it does turn over. And it does have some compression. I think the hood is probably the best part of the truck. Oddly enough. So I wanted to put some batteries in it and get this running, but then I noticed this was missing because I kind of forgot what the story was as to why he had to pull start it. Clearly that's why he had to pull start it. That window there, that needs to be filled with a starter. I'm not sure if I want to mess with it or not. It's got oil. Let's see if the throttle response is stuck or not. Okay, we have throttle. But we have no fuel cap. So what could be inside there other than fuel? I don't know if I want to mess with this. You know what, maybe I do have a starter inside the garage. Let me see how long it's going to take to whip a starter up quick, hook the battery cables up, and see what happens. So let's fast forward about 20 minutes later. I had a starter by my toolbox. It's one of those lightweight aluminum ones that has the starter solenoid built in or built out of it, connected to it. So I bypassed that solenoid just to make it quick and easy. There was still battery cables that run to the other side because the driver's side looked like it needed some help. So I was only trying to get this started. So I'm not even bumping it with a key. I have this tricky, Mack makes it, but you can make anything. You can wire up yourself and make just a push button start with 2 alligator clips, one for the power side, and then the other side is going to the solenoid on this starter. So upon further investigation, I discovered that there is a reason why somebody decided to put this cap on. So luckily for me, this is the draw, and then the return goes back into just this tank. So obviously the other one is bypassed, which is fine by me. And we got a little bit of fuel, about 3 inches in the bottom. So hopefully that's enough to get something moving. Again, no big, I don't want to make a government project out of this. And all of the bolts were corroded on the battery terminal ends. So I just vice gripped, squeezed them together, and I had my charger on. Just because I'm using one battery, I figured it's not gonna, I should have put 2 batteries in line, but I didn't feel like looking for the jumper wires because they weren't in the truck. I'm assuming they put 1 battery on each side when they were running this truck. That's probably what they did. So we have oil. This is the return line. I'm not even going to touch it. I'm just going to back away slowly and hope for the best. So on the other side, any of you Mack guys would know, but this is the oil pressure line, and somebody replaced it with plastic airline, which is okay. I don't know the longevity of it, being that oil does get hot, and I don't know how long the plastic lasts, but for this little startup video, it'll probably work fine. And then, I didn't want to look like a complete idiot on my channel. I did try to make sure this worked, and this little starter decided it didn't want to work. So I had to go get the convincer. So the convincer just slightly taps the starter, slightly taps the Bendix, and I got it to roll over just a quarter turn. So I'm content with that. So I'm just going to give the battery charger a few more minutes and see what happens. Now, there could be a bunch of things that happen. This truck could redline and run away because the pump is messed up. There's really no way to tell. The only thing I can tell you is the cable stop, which is in the wrong spot. It's all the way on the passenger side on the dash. That is fully functional. So there are some things that make me believe that this truck was not sitting forever. It was running, I don't know, maybe within 5 years, hopefully. I did put a 2x4 between the pedal and the seat because I'm afraid maybe that the transmission is stuck in gear. Really don't want any stress, extra stress going on when I hit the starter button to have just more stress on the starter, more stress on the batteries. And never mind, if it does do that, it's going to whip that drive shaft all around. That's cut at the back. So I want to make this start video as simple as possible. Going to turn it over just a little bit more and get some oil moving, get some oil pressure built up. And obviously it's not getting fuel, but that's okay. I'd rather have it turn over a little bit and then I might have to shoot it with deeper just to get it started. So I gave in and I hooked up some jumper cables and put that second battery in series. So we'll see. Normally in a scenario like this with a truck or a Mack engine that hasn't run in a while, I usually look for the hand pump, and this particular style does not have a hand pump. So we're gonna have to do some more convincing. I found an empty can of ether and an almost empty can of ether. So between the two empty cans of ether, maybe I'll at least get some smoke to come out the turbo. That would make me a little bit happy. Well, it's half alive. Got a little bit of smoke that time. Let's give it a minute. Maybe it'll fire. So I had to look above and beyond and far and every which way. Still have the almost empty can of ether, but there's not much that we own that needs ether. But I did find a brand new can, because again, we don't use a lot of ether. So we're in good shape. This should start now. Even if it goes through 1 1/16 of a can, it will run. Well then, what to do, what to do. Of course, the other thing you could do, I have one more trick up my sleeve, is I got this jug of fuel and I put the feed line in it, and when I cut it from that tank, there was no fuel in it. So it's either got a pickup problem, a plugged filter problem, the injection pump might be stuck. There's a whole bunch of things that could be wrong, but again, I'm going to keep trying to see if I can get it to start. Shoo! Well, it runs on ether. That's not what I would want. And I don't hear any return fuel going in the tank. I still have some more go-go juice left. Give it another shot, see what happens. that was a whole can of ether. So, and I even had the throttle wide open. So it's either got plugged filters or the injection pump is stuck. You got to take this window out and mess with the plungers in there and hope you don't break anything. So, not a fail. It does turn over. It does want to run. It just won't run on its own. So, maybe I'll mess with it down the road, but at least I know that it's halfway running, if you want to call it that. But I'll pick up my tools for the night, call it a night. Like and subscribe. Criticize all you want that I went through 2.5 cans. Well, not quite. More like a can and a half of ether. I'm sure people have done worse. Have a great night. Keep watching my videos, and on to the next one. So I have one more idea before I call it quits. Before I just assume there's 3 different things. There could be the pump, it could be the filters, it could be anything, a collapsed line. So what I'm going to do, I already took it apart, I'm bypassing the primary and secondary filter. So I'm putting direct fuel into the injection pump, and I'm using my little squeeze bottle here, and hopefully if it doesn't work, that tells me that it's a pump related issue. If this does work, it tells me that it's a filter issue. Fire in the hole. Sweet. It's actually pretty good on fuel too. I only use about 1/3 of the bottle, if that. More like 1/4 of the bottle. Huh. So anyway, it runs, and that's all that I care about. So I'll put this away, high and dry somewhere, get it out of the truck, take this horrible cab off. This is exciting. Got that to run with some simple thinking, I guess. Of course, I had to think of the last idea before I finally gave up. I gave up actually 5 minutes ago, but I wanted to try one more thing, and I can't believe it worked. I figured the pump was stuck. The guy that I bought the truck from maybe lied to me. But that's the funny thing about an engine. All it wants to do is run. So anyway, I hope you learned something with all this troubleshooting stuff, trying to get stuff, old rickety crap to run. So I'll carry on to the next one. Keep watching. Thanks for watching. And of course, like and subscribe.